Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Working on the C5 Corvette again. I got my belt alignment issue taken care of. I may have mentioned that one of the last videos. I may not have mentioned it in one of the last videos, but anyways, my serpentine belt was walking even though I used the laser alignment tool. It just wasn't right, so I had to take the ABS, everything back out of it again, and I had to put a few more cranks into the power steering pulley. Sucked that in, took care of the alignment issue, bled all the brakes again, that's done. But I figured as long as I had the wheels and tires off, I was going to go ahead and do the upper ball joints. If you remember from some of the past episodes, I replaced the lower control arms, but I didn't do the upper control arms on it, so I figured I might as well knock out these ball joints. Left side's already done, and I'm going to quickly show you how to get this right side done. To make this whole process go pretty fast and easy, keep the video short, I already went through and basically loosened everything up. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish taking the bolts out of this brake caliper. I'm going to set that off to the side on that platform so I'm not stressing out the braided steel brake line. So there's bolt number one. Why you gotta be like that? All right, bolt number two. And I didn't plan that out very well, obviously. There we go. Now that's out of the way. All right. Next thing I gotta do is I'm gonna go ahead and crank this back. And finish disconnecting that tie rod in. And before I pull that all the way off of there, basically gonna grab a sand mallet. And do nothing with it. So then I'm gonna grab a dead blow, leaving the nut on there, kinda just a little bit above the top of the threads. There it goes. See, sometimes you just gotta persuade this stuff a little bit. All right, go ahead and pull my tie rod off of there. The last thing I gotta do is pull the nut off the bottom of the ball joint itself. That's just a 18 millimeter. I've already loosened all this stuff up. I'll show this to you in just a second here. But if you look at the top, where is that in the camera? Okay. If you look at the top of your ball joints and your tie rod ends, they have a keyway for a number 6 hex head. If that starts spinning on you, just grab you one of those right there. Stick it in there to hold it while you crank it with a wrench. So all the nuts are off of the tie rod end, my upper ball joint. I've disconnected my ABS module, kicked that off to the side. Already got the caliper off. Over on the other, I basically got a jack underneath here with a block of wood. The car is still up on the lift. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to jack up the lower A-arm, and that's going to help push everything up so that I can drop the upper A-arm down and separate it from the spindle. And with the help of that trusty guy right there, we're gonna go ahead and do that. Go ahead, Shaniqua, jack it up a bit. That should do it. Okay, that should give me enough room that I can go ahead and get a ball joint fork in there, or I'm probably just going to use a pry bar. I'm going to go ahead and kill the video because I'm going to use a little bit of profanity when I do this, and we'll be back in just a second. Nah, I'm good. Alright, that definitely needed a little bit of profanity, but actually had to smack the stud, put the nut back on there and start hammering on it a little bit. I got that off of there. Okay, go ahead and drop down the A-arm. There we go. That's all separated. Hey Shaniqua, you want to lower the jack back down? Alright, so now that I got the upper A-arm off of there, I've tilted the spindle back out. Like I said, we're doing these ball joints. You know what, maybe I didn't say that. Anyways, we're doing these ball joints on the car. I lowered the A-arm back down so that it drops that lower A-arm as far as it'll go. Give me a little more angle on that spindle so I can get the tool in there and get that out. Hey, go ahead and get the tool set up now. Alright, so my ball joint removing tool is on there. I'm going to turn down on that screw thingy-majiggy. That's going to draw the bottom of the C-clamp up. That's got your removal flange on it. That's going to push that ball joint up into that metal ring. The metal ring is going to sit on the outside around the edge of your ball joint and allow it to come up through there. And then last time I just had to throw a quick air hammer on there to get that out. So let me go ahead and crank this down and see what happens. So I cranked down the ball joint removing tool slash C-clamp. I use an impact on it, even though it says don't use an impact on it. But I've never been one for following directions real well. And it popped that old bugger right out of there. So we're going to clean up this bore. We're going to give it a light coat of oil, and then we're going to put the new one in. So we got that bore all cleaned up, all nice and shiny, and I'm going to coat this with a little bit of Kenny Bell supercharger oil. That stuff is super slippery. So the ball joint's in place. I got the press put back on. The installer is now on the top with the steel cylinder on the bottom to let it all pass through. I go ahead and put the impact on there after I straighten out its angle a little bit and crank that thing down, and hopefully it slips right in. Alright, I got that C-clamp all screwed down, or the ball joint installer tool. If you look real close, that's seated right up against the spindle. We can go ahead and take the tool off and finish putting this back together. So we got the tie rod in, all connected and torqued down. I'm finishing cranking down on the actual ball joint itself. If my light would stay in a good spot. And things I like to do is, even after you crank these down, smack them a couple of times with a good mallet. Make sure they're good and seated in there. All right, next thing, I plug our ABS module back in, and the brake rotor and caliper are going back on. We're pretty well done. All right, so we got wheels and tires back on. Fired it up, gonna let it warm up a little bit. We're gonna run this around the block and see how it feels. ball joints are all finished up. Just give you an idea of time frame. Takes about 45 minutes aside to do them on the car. Got that all done, set it down, took it on a little test drive. Steering feels a whole lot more solid. And we're finished up, so we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.